Welcome back to Coin Clues, where ordinary pocket change can turn into a story of history, mystery, and serious collector value. Today we are looking at 5 Washington quarter dollar coins that may look common at first glance, but each one carries the kind of hidden detail collectors love to chase. Rare mint errors, high-grade survivors, wrong planche possibilities, missing clad layers, and shocking price potential. If you're new here, subscribe now and turn on notifications because on this channel we do not just show coins. We uncover the secrets hiding inside them. So, check your drawers, old jars, coin rolls, and pocket change because one of these quarters could be worth far more than 25 cents. The 1969D Washington quarter is the kind of coin that can fool almost anyone. It looks simple, familiar, and ordinary. Just another quarter with George Washington on the front and the eagle on the reverse. But collectors know that this coin belongs to a very interesting period in American coin history. By 1969, the United States had already moved away from silver quarters. The old 90% silver composition ended after 1964, and the modern copper nickel clad quarter became the new standard. A normal 1969D quarter weighs about 5.67 G, and that weight is one of the first clues collectors use when checking for errors. The small d mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. In everyday circulated condition, most 1969D quarters are common. They pass through payphones, vending machines, parking meters, cash registers, and pockets all across America. Most were scratched, worn, and forgotten, but the rare ones tell a different story. Stay with this coin until the end because if a 1969D Washington quarter carries the right mint error, condition, and authentication, its price reveal can be shocking. One reason collectors study the 1969D quarter is condition rarity. Many surviving examples are not high grade. They may have weak luster, surface marks, dull color, or circulation wear. Finding one in clean, sharp, high grade condition is much harder than people think. A coin does not have to be ancient to be valuable. Sometimes it only has to survive better than almost every other coin from the same year. Collectors also search for mint errors. One important rarity error is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planche is not perfectly centered between the dies. The design shifts, leaving part of the coin blank. If the date and mint mark remain visible, the coin becomes more collectible. Another possible error is the missing clad layer. Since 1969 quarters are made from layers of metal, one outer layer can sometimes be missing before the coin is struck. This may make one side appear copper-colored and may slightly reduce the weight, but collectors must be careful because heat, chemicals, or damage can also change a coin's color. A real missing clad layer must be a mint-made error. The 1969D quarter can also show die cracks, die breaks, or struck-through errors. A struck-through error happens when grease, cloth, metal fragments, or debris gets between the die and planche during striking. The result can be weak letters, missing design details, or strange flat areas. Then there's the possibility of a wrong planche error. If a quarter design was struck on a blank mint for another coin, the weight, size, or thickness would be wrong. This is why checking the official 5.67 G is so important. A wrong planche quarter would need professional authentication, but if real, it can create serious collector excitement. If you find a 1969D quarter, start with the basics. Check the D mint mark. Look at Washington's portrait, the eagle, the rim, and the edge. Weigh the coin. Search for unusual color, missing layers, off-center design, die cracks, or anything that looks different from a normal quarter. Most 1969D quarters are only worth face value, but the rare examples, the ones with strong errors, elite condition, and certification can become serious collector pieces. And now comes the final price reveal. A rare 1969D Washington quarter dollar error coin with the right minting mistake, condition, and collector demand could possibly reach around $396,000. The 1982D Washington quarter is one of those coins that looks modern enough to ignore, but serious collectors know better. It was made during an important period for U.S. coinage, when millions of quarters were being produced for everyday use. Yet, high-grade examples and major error coins could still become extremely desirable. The small D mint mark means this quarter was struck at the Denver Mint. A normal 82D Washington quarter weighs about 5.67 G and is made from copper nickel clad composition over a copper core. That weight matters because it helps collectors identify whether the coin was struck on the correct planche. At first glance, most 1982D quarters look completely normal, but this year has a special collector angle. In 1982, the US Mint did not release regular official uncirculated mint sets for collectors. Because of that, many high-quality coins went directly into circulation. That means finding a beautiful, clean, high-grade 1982D quarter can be more difficult than many beginners expect. Keep watching until the end, because this 1982D quarter has a possible price reveal that can surprise anyone who thinks modern quarters are always worthless. Most 1982D quarters were used in daily life. They were spent at grocery stores, dropped into machines, tossed into jars, and rolled by banks. Over time, many picked up scratches, dullness, and wear. A coin that survives with strong luster, clean surfaces, and sharp detail immediately becomes more interesting. But condition is only one side of the story. The other side is errors. One possible error is an off-center strike. This happens when the planche is not properly seated between the dies. The design shifts away from the center and part of the coin may be blank. Collectors usually prefer off-center errors where the date and mint mark are still visible. Another valuable possibility is a clip planche. This happens before the coin is struck when the blank is punched incorrectly from the metal strip. A real clip planche may show a curved missing section along the edge. To a beginner, it may look like damage, but to a collector, a true mint clip tells a production story. A missing clad layer can also make this coin more interesting. Modern quarters are made from layered metal. If one outer layer is missing before striking, one side may appear copper-colored. Weight can also be affected, which is why comparing the coin to 5.67 G is important. The rarest type is a wrong planche strike. If a 1982D quarter was struck on a planche meant for another denomination, the size, thickness, or weight would be wrong. A quarter struck on a smaller or lighter planche would immediately raise suspicion. Collectors also inspect for die cracks, die chips, and struck-through errors. These can appear as raised lines, blobs, weak areas, or missing details caused by damaged dies or foreign material during the strike. If you find a 1982D quarter, do not spend it too quickly. Check the D mint mark. Look at the edge, weight, surfaces, and strike. Search for off-center design, missing clad layer, clipped planche, unusual color, or unusually clean condition. If it looks exceptional, professional grading may be worth considering. Most 1982D quarters are common, but the right coin with a dramatic mint error, top grade condition, and strong collector demand can be far more valuable than ordinary pocket change. And now, the final price reveal. A rare 1982D Washington quarter dollar error coin with a right condition, certification, and minting mistake could possibly be worth around $232,000. The 1979 Washington quarter is a coin many people have seen without ever remembering it. It is not silver, is not ancient, and it does not immediately look rare. But in the coin collecting world, value does not always come from age. Sometimes it comes from condition, errors, and details most people never check. A normal 1979 Washington quarter weighs about 5.67 G. It is made from copper nickel clad composition with a copper core. Some 1979 quarters were struck in Philadelphia and others were struck in Denver. The mint mark helps identify where the coin came from, but collectors look beyond that. They study the strike, edge, surface, color, weight, and possible errors. Stay with this 1979 quarter until the end because its final price reveal shows why even common-looking quarters should not be ignored. In 1979, quarters were used constantly. They went into payphones, vending machines, laundromats, parking meters, arcade games, and cash registers. Most were not saved carefully. They were scratched, dropped, stacked, rolled, and worn down. That is why a clean, high-grade example can stand out. Condition matters because most 1979 quarters are not close to perfect.
A coin with strong luster, sharp details, and clean surfaces can attract collector attention. But error coins can be even more exciting. One interesting error is the struck-through error. This happens when something gets between the die and the planchet during striking. It could be grease, cloth, metal, or another object. The result may be missing details, weak letters, or strange impressions. A strong struck-through error can make a regular quarter much more collectible. Another error is the clipped planchet. If the blank was cut incorrectly from the metal strip, the finished quarter may have a curved missing section. This happened before the strike, so it is considered a real mint error if confirmed. A double strike can also happen. This occurs when the coin is struck once, fails to leave the press properly, and receives another strike. The second strike may be shifted, creating overlapping design elements. It looks dramatic and immediately tells collectors something unusual happened. Then there are missing clad layers. If an outer clad layer is missing before striking, one side of the quarter may appear copper-colored. This can also affect the weight, making the scale an important tool. Collectors also search for wrong planchet errors. If a 1979 quarter was struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, the weight and size would not match a normal quarter. Since the standard is 5.67 grams, any major difference deserves attention. But beginners must be careful. A coin damaged after circulation is not the same as a mint error. Scratches, burns, corrosion, and bending usually reduce value. Real value comes from mistakes that happened inside the mint. If you find a 1979 quarter, examine it under good light. Check the date, mint mark, edge, eagle reverse, and Washington's portrait. Look for clipped edges, off-center strike, double strike, missing clad layer, die cracks, or strange color. Then, weigh it carefully. Most 1979 quarters are worth face value, but rare examples with dramatic errors, top condition, and certification can become highly collectible. And now comes the final price reveal. A rare 1979 Washington quarter dollar error coin with a right minting mistake, condition, and collector interest could possibly reach around $219,700. The 1972D Washington quarter is one of those coins that quietly sits in old jars and drawers waiting for someone to notice the details. It may look like just another post-silver quarter, but collectors know that the 1970s produced many coins worth checking carefully. The D mint mark tells us this quarter was struck at the Denver Mint. A normal 1972 D quarter weighs about 5.67 grams and is made from copper nickel-clad metal over copper core. This was the modern quarter composition after silver was removed from circulation quarters. At first glance, the 1972 D quarter may seem common. But stay with this coin until the end, because if it carries the right error, the final price reveal can go above what most people expect from a 25-cent coin. In 1972, quarters were heavily used. They moved through banks, stores, gas stations, vending machines, and payphones. Most were never protected. Because of that, high-grade survivors can be difficult to find, and dramatic mint errors become even more exciting. One of the key errors to search for is an off-center strike. If the planchet was not centered properly, the design shifted when the die struck the coin. A visible date and mint mark make this type of error more valuable because the coin can be clearly identified. Another important error is a broad strike. This happens when the coin is struck without being properly held by the retaining collar. The metal spreads outward, making the coin wider and flatter than normal. A broad-struck quarter can look strange immediately because its shape does not match a standard quarter. A missing clad layer can also create strong visual interest. Since clad quarters have outer nickel layers over a copper core, a missing layer may reveal a copper-colored side. This can make the coin look unusual and may change the weight slightly. Collectors also watch for struck-through errors. Grease or debris between the die and planchet can create weak or missing design areas. On a 1972 D quarter, collectors may inspect Washington's hair, the motto, the date, the eagle, and the lettering. Die cracks and die breaks are another possibility. These appear as raised lines or raised blobs on the coin. They show that the die was damaged during production. While not every die crack is extremely valuable, dramatic examples can add collector appeal.
The rarest possibility is a wrong plancher error. If a 1972D quarter was struck on a plancher meant for another coin, the weight, thickness, or a diameter would not match. This is why weighing the coin against the official 5.67 G matters so much. Condition also plays a major role. A quarter with a major error but heavy damage may lose value, but a coin with a clear error, sharp details, strong luster, and professional certification can attract far more attention. If you find a 1972 D quarter, check the D mint mark first, then study the edge, color, thickness, and design. Look for off-center strike, broad strike, missing clad layer, die cracks, clip plancher, or strange weight, and never clean the coin because cleaning can destroy collector value. Most 1972 D quarters are common, but a rare error example, especially one with strong eye appeal and authentication, can become a serious collector piece. And now comes the final price reveal. A rare 1972 D Washington $quarter error coin with the right minting mistake, condition, and certification could possibly reach $300,000 or more. The 1967 Washington quarter belongs to one of the most important transition periods in U.S. coin history. It looks like an ordinary quarter, but it came just after America removed silver from regular circulating quarters. That makes it part of the early clad era, a time when a mint was still adjusting to new metal, new production demands, and massive circulation needs. A normal 1967 Washington quarter weighs about 5.67 G and is made from copper-nickel clad composition with a copper core. Unlike some years, 1967 quarters do not carry a traditional mint mark because mint marks were temporarily removed during this period. That detail alone makes the coin interesting to many beginners. Stay with this 1967 quarter until the end, because if it has the right mint error and strong condition, its possible price reveal can go beyond what most people would ever expect for pocket change. In 1967, the U.S. Mint was still dealing with the aftermath of the coin shortage. Silver coins had been hoarded by the public, and the government needed clad coins to circulate widely. Quarters were struck in large quantities, but the pressure of production created opportunities for mistakes. One possible error is the missing clad layer. Since this coin is made from layered metal, one outside layer could be missing before the strike. This may give one side a copper-colored look. A true missing clad layer is different from staining or damage, so authentication matters. Another exciting error is the off-center strike. This happens when the plancher is not properly centered between the dies. Part of the design appears shifted and part of the coin may be blank. A clear date makes the error more desirable. A wrong plancher strike is even rarer. If a 1967 quarter was struck on a plancher meant for another denomination, the coin would have the wrong weight, size, or thickness. This is why collectors weigh it against 5.67 G. Collectors also inspect for die cracks, die breaks, clip planchers, and struck-through errors. A struck-through error can make part of Washington's portrait, the date, or the eagle appear weak or missing. A die crack may appear as a raised line across the coin. Condition is also extremely important. Many 1967 quarters were heavily circulated. Finding one with strong luster, clean surfaces, and sharp detail can be difficult. If a coin has both high-grade and a dramatic error, the collector interest becomes much stronger. Because 1967 quarters have no mint mark, beginners should not think the missing mint mark itself is an error. That was normal for the year. The real value comes from condition, verified mint errors, unusual weight, or rare plancher mistakes. If you find a 1967 Washington quarter, check the edge first. Look for the copper core line. Study the color, surfaces, strike, and weight. Search for missing clad layers, off-center design, clipped edges, die cracks, or struck-through details. If something looks unusual, do not clean it. Keep it original and consider expert authentication. Most 1967 quarters are worth only face value in circulated condition. But the rare ones with major mint errors, strong condition, and professional certification can become far more valuable. And now comes the final price reveal. A rare 1967 Washington $quarter error coin with the right condition, minting mistake, and collector demand could possibly reach $350,000 or more.